Evening and welcome back to Wargaming in the Cave. Now, I have the other request I had, other than putting some videos together to show techniques and processes that I'm using, was also it was suggested that it might be quite interesting to have a video update as to what's happening on my painting table. So as a nod to the Yorkshire Gamer who started the trend, I'm following in those footsteps, as well trodden footsteps. Well done, Ken. So hopefully you'll find it interesting. It's just an update as to where I am, what painting projects I've got on the go, what I'm working to try and complete. And I'm going to start with a little tour of my paint desk. So I will take you through what's on the table for December. Okay, so as you can see, it's a fairly busy paint desk. Try not to have it too cluttered, and I try and work on the basis of finishing what's on the table to make way before I move something else on, to hopefully avoid butterflying too much. Now you'll notice some cavalry horses to begin with. These I have finished relatively recently. They are not yet varnished. They are Aventine 28mm Seleucid cavalry. They're waiting for their riders that you can see, you might be able to see in the background, but I'll show you those in a minute. They've been painted using oil techniques. Again, from Yorkshire Gamer, I've copied them and put them into practice. Really pleased. I like painting with oils when it comes to horses. They give the nice sort of sheen finish to bring them to life. So they are waiting for their riders as part of my 28mm Seleucid project. And their riders are just here. Now they're on, you'll notice they're on Dowling poles. They're pole sitters. I have cut some just a bit of batten, drilled the holes in, because I find holding them like this allows me to paint cavalry quite comfortably and quite quickly. And the other thing is I put them on with the hot glue gun, and then they'll snap off quite happily, and then you just put them onto, obviously on top of your horse, glue them on, and away you go. The other thing I would say is what I have on the bottom of each rider is a little letter. So hopefully you can see that. And that will correspond with one of the horses, because what I do before I paint a regiment of cavalry is I would clean the horses, match the riders to the horse, so that when I've finished painting, they fit on properly. Because what I've discovered occasionally is that if you don't do that, they might not quite fit. They might scrape a bit of paint off, which is really annoying if you've just finished painting a horse using oils, because you then have to try and cover it up, and that can obviously be very frustrating. And I found that just by matching them up to begin with, you can then get your riders to look to sit with their horses and look good when they're finished. So without further ado, these are where my riders are currently. They're Seleucid companion cavalry, again from Aventine. As you can see, they're well underway. I will hope they will be finished before the end of the year. They're part of my quest to get to 340 odd painted figures in a year, which for me is a lot, which would be a record. For others, that's what they get painted in a month, which is very ambitious, but I'm quite pleased with that, 340 figures in a year. And these chaps are well on their way. What you'll also see on the painting table are bits and pieces, but there's a few terrain items. I have some walls which are almost finished. They need a wash, and they need a bit of work on the bricks, and the doors need painting around the back here. They're walls for Hougoumont. We're planning a Waterloo game in May of next year. I've painted pretty much all of the buildings for Hougoumont. I just need to finish the walls, so that's ready for the table. Let me show you one I completed in November. Recognise these chaps if you've seen my other video on how to base. They are Dutch militia, they're front rank, and they were completed, they were finished painting, or I finished painting them in November, and based them before the end of the month, and they are still awaiting their colours, which will hopefully be with them shortly. And they are then in the cabinet. The other thing I didn't say that I did when I finished painting figures is on the bottom, I just put a little label as to when I painted them. November 25, as you can see. It's quite interesting when you look back over your collection over the years to think, oh, when did I paint those last? And I was looking to see when I last painted some Dutch demolition, and I was shocked to see it was 5 years ago. But Violence Brigade is now finally finished and ready for Waterloo, as you can see. Now, I had another question about the Brigadier and from the basing video as to how he finished off. So here he is in all his glory with his trumpeter. As you can see, the base has come out matching the mat, so it all sits quite nicely, ready for the next game, and they will see some action. Now, what I've also been doing is in November I did some airbrushing. Now, these aren't finished, but they've been airbrushed, so they're ready to work their way through the production system, conveyor belt rather, to be ready. You'll see there's some airborne jeeps as well as a Sherman and a Bailey Bridge. Arnhem is on the agenda for next year. There's a large collection of buildings that will need painting as well, but the troops are pretty much assembled and ready to go. They're just the final touches before being able to launch some Arnhem and Operation Market Garden battles, so they will need to be painted. These chaps over here have been assembled. They are Britannia models. What they're missing at the moment is their aerials, which will be put on shortly, hopefully, and then they can go into the airbrush conveyor belt part of the system. They are ready. You'll see bits of green stuff on the models. I try and fill out the obvious holes around hatches, etc., just so that then when you airbrush them, they look good. They look like as a model, as a good representation of the vehicle, covering up any of those little holes you get sometimes with resin. So they are ready for the conveyor belt. Over here are some German vehicles, again mainly for Arnhem, which have been airbrushed but are not yet table ready because they too have to work through the process of being dry brushed, having their wheels painted, etc, etc. I will probably do a separate video on vehicles as I work my way through, but just to give you a taste of what I've been up to over the last few weeks. As you can see, a few bits of German armour, again mainly for Arnhem. Also, we've been thinking about playing some more Normandy battles. We use rapid fire for our World War II games, which we really enjoy. As you can see, they have just literally been airbrushed, and they're some way off being table ready. That's waiting to be painted, and as I say, I try not to butterfly, but you've probably drawn the conclusion that this looks like butterflying to most people. Arnhem Buildings, this one's been started. It's not making too bad a progress, but has become a little bit stalled, having undercoated and primed, and then made a start, as you can see, with the roofs, and not really got any further. Over here you can see the other buildings which are currently waiting to be painted, and some more Hougoumont walls. I'm hoping to sit down and maybe spend an afternoon or so cracking through my buildings, and of course I will do a video to show you how I paint them. But these two are all set for Arnhem. Obviously the walls are again for Hougoumont for next year. So there we have it. That's what's on the painting table. Put comments in the chat below if you'd like to see videos on anything in particular. As I say, I'm working on a video for French Napoleonics, because the other thing I should have mentioned is a battalion of French Young Guard, forgive me, which is going to be painted in December. That's going to be the first unit as part of the Analog painting challenge for the winter. And he's just my first test figure through, because I've not painted any of those before. So I should be doing a video on that. But if there's anything else you'd like to see videos on, let me know in the comments. Please add in the comments if you found them useful or any feedback. As I said, these are very rough and ready videos. I'm not a video editor, and I'm just doing them to share how I prepare stuff for the tabletop. So if you're interested, carry on watching. Obviously, if not, you know where the off button is. Hopefully you'll refrain from that. And any feedback, please drop it in the comments. So that's what's on the painting table for December. And thanks again for watching Wargaming in the Cave.